Hello everyone, I'm Brazen Eagle and thank you for joining me here. So, we have an article today from the Washington Examiner by Suzanne Venker, which was published on May 26, which is a few days old, but I was not aware of this article at the time. Anyways, we have greatly underestimated feminism's harmful influence on millennials, written by Suzanne Venker, like I said, who is an important person to talk about, at least in regards to this article, but we'll come back to her later. When it comes to the problems millennials face, we are just not getting it. As I mentioned in my last post about the debt millennials have incurred, their predicament isn't their fault, it's their parents' fault. It is the baby boomers who led millennials astray. We've suffered from the educational debt phenomenon because when we couldn't find jobs, a lot of us went to college, or we got graduate degrees. Our boomer parents encouraged us to fund a lot of that with debt, on the premise that we would eventually pay it off in the job market. But that was clearly wrong, and we're paying the price for it, writes Wall Street Journal columnist Joseph Sternberg in his interview about his new book, blah, 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 blah. That is unquestionably true, but it's not enough. Too few are willing to discuss the social narrative boomers promoted that resulted in the economic troubles millennials now face. As Simon Sinek explains in his wildly successful video about millennials in the workplace, there are 4 pillars that landed millennials in the boat they are in: parenting, technology, impatience, and environment. Too many millennials grew up subject to failed parenting strategies, notes Sinek. Millennials were routinely told, for instance, that they were special, that they were told that they could have anything that they wanted in life just because they wanted it. Once again, true. But there's more to it than that. This message to which Sinek refers was specifically directed to girls by their feminist-minded mothers. Sinek talks about the self-esteem movement and the harm it's done to millennials, and this person agrees. Suzanne Venker agrees. But we can't separate the self-esteem movement from the feminist movement. They're two sides of the same coin. The self-esteem movement says, there's no one quite like you. You're amazing. Go, seize the world. And feminism says, your mother's lives were constrained. Don't live the way they did, reach for the stars instead. And kill your nation. As a result, girls and young women, both then and now, feel entitled to lives that defy description. They should be out of this world exciting. It was a powerful message that set off a chain of events. Millennials are the first generation of women to postpone marriage and motherhood and to instead pile up degree upon degree that would make them more marketable and theoretically, potentially, help them get established for marriage, but instead dealt them a cruel blow. Now they're in debt and can't afford to get married, and I'm going to leave that sentence there because I'm going to bring this back up a little bit later. No one told these women that when previous generations got married, they had zero money saved. But they also had no debt. The idea for marriage is to grow together, but that's not what boomers taught millennials. Why would they? Boomers are the generation that brought us divorce. They didn't want their children, again, their daughters in particular, to get married. Why be just a wife and mother when you can rule the world? With this one simple but destructive message, everything changed. Today, more than half of young people don't have a romantic partner at all, let alone a spouse. Marriage has taken a serious nosedive, and we're all worse off as a result. At the end of the day, Americans have underestimated the power the feminist narrative had on an entire generation of women, and subsequently every generation of women since the boomer generation. Even millennials don't understand it. Well, some of us do. They never knew any other way to live, but that is changing. Millennials were told that they were special, but learned that they aren't. They were told that they don't need a man, but learned that everyone needs men. They were told that children will hold them back, or would hold them back, but discovered that children are precisely what they want. In fact, family is all they really want, and only now they're either too old or too broke to have one. And this was written by Suzanne Venker. Anyways, this article, honestly, is pretty well written. It's pretty honest, pretty fair. But before we begin, I just want to make sure that we all know the ages or years in which people are regarded as millennials. Now, I looked them up, and eventually you get accustomed to what is known as a millennial. A millennial are people who are born basically in the year 1980 to about the mid-1990s. Some would say early 2000s, but it's really the mid-1990s. So the oldest millennials are turning 39, 40 or so within this next year. And at the youngest ages, they're about 24 to 25-ish. So there's that 15-year gap of who we can call millennials. Now that we know who they are, let's talk about the article. Because boomers mostly raised the millennial generation, the millennials took all of the boomer advice and embraced it. Millennials were taught that everyone was special, like the article mentions, and that you can get all the education you want and not raise a family, especially for women. Women finally had a choice whether they wanted to have kids or a job, but trying to do both is nearly impossible. But of course, the millennial women are just now facing reality. They're just waking up to the realization that despite the numerous degrees that they may have obtained, it doesn't make them any more attractive to men. Men don't care about how many degrees you have. If anything, the more educated a woman is, the less attractive she is to a man. It's been proven that the more education a woman gets, the less kids they have. A man doesn't want a woman, though, who is a know-it-all, and women on an instinctual level will always feel that they are superior to a man if she has more education than her boyfriend or husband. They just feel like, oh, I have a master's degree. This guy only works in a trade. I feel so much superior to him, which doesn't make any sense. It's a lose-lose situation. Besides, the more time a woman takes to get her degrees, the older she will be, and men don't want women over the age of 24 now. I'm on this website called Jezebel. If you don't know about the website Jezebel, I recommend never coming here because it's a very, very cancerous website. But the man's age is in black, and the age of the woman who looks best to him, the age that a man wants a woman or a partner. If a man is 20, he wants a 20-year-old woman. If a man is 21, he wants a 20-year-old woman. If he's 22, 23, 24, 25, he wants a 21-year-old woman. The oldest age a man wants a female is at age 24, when he himself is at age 45. Even 50-year-old men, they want 22-year-olds. They're young, they're fertile, they're attractive. Men don't want 42-year-old women. They don't want 35-year-old women if they can get a 25-year-old woman. But then again, if they had the choice, they'd probably choose someone who's 21. Now, Suzanne Venker, the author of this article, is correct when she says that feminism has been harmful to millennials. But it has hurt every generation of Americans since the early 1900s, since the very first, or even before the first wave of feminism. Every single wave of feminism has been an attack on the traditional nuclear family, an attack on a strong society, as well as an attack on a culture that rewards responsibility with authority, all the way back to the first wave of feminism. Women got the right to vote for nothing, but they didn't have to do anything to vote. They just got it for free. Now, here's where I'm going to bring up Suzanne Venker again. If you don't know, Suzanne Venker, she is a feminist despite what she says. Hell, she's got even her own Wikipedia page now. She doesn't agree with third or fourth wave feminism, but she absolutely is a first and second wave feminist. Here, I didn't even know this until I looked this up on Wikipedia. She wrote a book, The Flip Side of Feminism, What Conservative Women Know and What Men Can't Say, with her late aunt, the conservative lawyer and activist Phyllis Schlafly. I did not know her aunt was Phyllis Schlafly, who was a prominent feminist, I believe, in the 1970s. But, regardless of what Suzanne Venker says, she is still a first and second wave feminist. She would never give up the rights and privileges that the first and second wave of feminists manipulated men into giving them. She will never want to get rid of her right to vote, own property, or go to college. She is what some would call a Diet Coke feminist. And you know what? There are women out there like Suzanne Venker. Women like Suzanne Venker will say whatever is needed to gain the favor of men to say that they, the women, are on men's side. But they all would not give up their privileges if asked to. They are chameleons, and we all need to recognize their ability to manipulate men's minds. Do not trust a woman's words. What you do, though, is only trust the outcomes of her actions. You have to watch her actions and verify what she does. She'll say one thing, she'll do another. It's women's nature. But with that being said, I'm Brazen Eagle. Thank you very much for watching this video, and I hope you have a great day.